I do not have it. I'm traveling. I'm in Arizona,
Oh,
so I'm in a
see.
hotel. But I wanted to listen. Are you going to be giving teachings this morning? Is Geshe-la going to teach? Are you going to teach?
Yeah, Geshe-la is with me.
I tried to go on to the morning chanting, but couldn't connect.
Okay, here you go.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Has it already started?
Yeah, I started.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Quiet.
mute. Okay. Go. We'll say the prayer on page number 10. Page number 10, we'll say in Tibetan each verse 2 times, all the way to page number 13. On page number 13 is the mandala offering. The mandala offering we'll say 1 time. And then we will say this in English from the page number 11.
Semje tamje dema bebe dewa damandra Semje tamje niran chodan nidan rave Tanyon la newar ju
In English, on page number 11, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. From now until in my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings embody equanimity, feel bias, attachment, and anger. His ground, unknown to the perfume, strewn with flowers, marked mirrors, covered by the four continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon. I visualize this Buddha field in our heart. May all living beings enjoy the pure light. Idam Guru Rana Medala Kame Yadayame.
호야는 sama 참 저실리요. 스테랑 덴지 티스만이 그런 보모 특히 반론에 다 돈이 갈게 그랬는데 그런 담바 그게 수행세.
Good morning and Tashidelik to all of you. Today Tenzin is unavailable because he went to see his daughter, and that's why Tempa is translating today Geshe teachings.
또 기동 대랑 무스그 좀 동사부터는 좀 말던 그런 동부 배전도 좀 공도 된다. 우리로도 디스 마 송도시.
So today I will not go the deeper the meaning or the teaching or the book of this meaning, but rather I would like to talk about the history of the book.
성집 생화 작가와 전부 성집 남기 성집은 뭐지 정의 담바 더바 전부 로중 년기 채무 님이 오즈 시샤원다는 대월석비 송르 ям수다오 올라 왕 조르위 대훈 담바 시지적으로 종코 어차피 망어지 따와준도 일와인라 대답이 늘 다시 지와 다도 지니 진짜 비상집 남기는비 설리 공도 집을샤오 시든
So this if you have the mind training like the rays of the sun book, go to page number 138. I think the second stanza, the great Bodhisattva. If you see the second here from here, the great Bodhisattva Chakawas advise on training in the precious awakening mind, the excellent whispered lineage of the great vehicle mind training known as the rays of the sun has been explained according to the whispered instructions of the Venerable master who has mastery over the ocean, like teachings of the ones thus gone. The sublime navigator, the great king of the doctrine, Tsongkhapa, the final view concerning the subtlest essence of these subjects should be discerned from these venerated teachers' great expositions of the stage of the path to enlightenment.
근데 조네 조치가 지스 덩근은 가 작가와서 되게 그런 냠는 그 정체성 냠는 지를 저 뜻파 이바지네 마 용데 주데 지 더니 첨부고 마 송제네 단다 공부파 서라군데 더 신전도 yap지네 담바 조마 밥규인 스텐서던 디노가 저동지나 용도고 시르셔발 지 더니 첨부 라브름 났다나 마또 자동 콘트 디노가 송토요 말에 세터 돈로디는 더
The
송난 거 어디서 거좀 봐.
Adishagajira George.
음.
So here, so this here, the mainly here explained that these are the steps of the practice by the Adisha, and
아디시가 로마 작가와치 못해.
yeah, these are the steps, the practice for from the taught by the disciple of the Atisha, which is the Chekawa, the master Chekawa, and he able to collected all the steps of the practices into this the wonderful books, and but mainly referring from the Lamrim taught by Tsongkhapa. So it is very important you always look back to the main the books, which is the Lamrim.
네, 년기세 동반의 찍으시라 암존난 디바 담바 진주 자전이 송업도 파 작가분이 작가 코로나 맞대 찍는 찍도 길다 안는다 지더니 보고다 파 년기 시험 줬다다 근데 좀바보다는 공부도 파 이토와 봤다면서 그래 보통 난 바빠지 이토와 봤지 다 로종 메우서 배치도 좀 어려서 그래
So this teaching usually the what we call the whispered lineage through the every lineages, and where they transited these teachings from the lineage to lineage, and mainly the essence teaching of the Tsongkhapa, and also here numbers of the teaching taught by the master Chekawa, and this book, all the teaching was composed into that book, written into this book by the master Nangkapao.
오마이나 안에 일단 냠스 런치다 베나 개인기 특식식이라니 개인 그런 냠스는 영화 톱주트 파 게트 먹으면 저기 좀 주텔라 게트 텔라 도능 당원을 정도 시스템 답아용 그들이지라 파치트 디텔 년지네 년기 티와지 티위도 삼비주도 검지 냠는 지기 들이지네 마용 바로 들이지로 통로 들이지 좀다 당성스마 다 용탁까지 생기들이 고시요 신나마시시 년기들 다 가르치게 그냥 들리지 그 랑고 차르마 돈을 년기세야 돼 지그절라 들리지니 봐 이바지 용 주주래세
And traditionally, we call this the teachings, the secret instructions, or the whispered lineage, which passing through the master to master lineage, through the what you call the whispered lineage. And for example, the master will instruct that very teaching that he or she realize, and will whisper to the his follower or the students. And the student itself and will receive that teaching, and not only that, he or she will practice and able to realize the essence, the meaning of the that teaching that was given by the master. So this is how it has been, traditionally been given by the teacher, what we call the whispered lineage. But nowadays, is we rarely see like that kind of traditions. We will see that nowadays all kinds of master, and some are may not be very qualified or the authentic the master, uh, and might kind of like express him or herself as a master and give uh, the uh, the miss instructions.
단디 너도 저동다 종름로데 남친 저와 터모만 비게 탁바칠란 지급비 고식보 니위 창츠그 석배 메땅총 라소근 진종네 른친들 상습 셈라귀 요시비틀 머위 진종特别 홍보라 세기토 마품 잠베용 샹티 손질 러드 토메지 샤왈라당 아티 화든 아티샤特바 총선 년니 기바 년니 년대길 상츠생화 차카와라 가바비 특특히 린친 상츠셈 일라 든트부 혼로 치즈와 니즈 상츠셈이 종위틀 상다첨보 소소 터몽당 터몽마에 빌리는 서울시실 겹벌 번쪽 시와들 다진 냠지 셰피 상츠 셈정와 야시 첨보 차카와 로종니레 직드디니 람지 천 청와 양로 참모는 로군 제츠드 쩨터 서울시 바강임바데 담바든 담메비 차치데 데터 로퍼셰바 공 라미튼 시지야위 공공 바버카 로먼 텐네 조디시 총위 마숑 로퍼셰비 초치나 치기 화든 남기 양의 청스 데터바비 남거기위 초 강시 서브르저와 디티 다토냐빈 로마리와 상습셈 당 남영만드쇼 디티티 쿠르와 저스버 링와이스음 통티 자락기 감슴로와 햄비 솔로등 등마리 세비 기저치 또 로스바.
Um, okay, let's go to the page number 138. The process of acquainting yourself with the awaking mind is the uncommon cause for actualizing a Buddha's wisdom, is the only entrance for venturing into the great vehicle. Is like a fire burning of the thicket of faulty actions, and is a treasury of rules providing all prosperity. The supreme beings, the powerful subduer, who speaks about the vast and profound doctrine, the chief of his son, invincible materia, and refined, glorious, and eloquent Manjushri, Nagarjuna, and Asanga, who opened up the tradition for the carrier of the teaching to pass through. Shandideva and glorious Atisha, who have generated the altruistic mind and transmitted it from ear to ear, um, shower their teachings on the Bodhisattva Chakawa, who create these teachings for engendering the precious awakening mind. The way to generate it in your continuum is through the four preliminary practices and the process of training in the twofold awakening mind, which is the actual basis. You should clearly distinguish between the common and the uncommon systems of each of the great pioneers of the teachings, especially that supreme tradition of Shantideva, of training in the awakening mind through the exchange of self with others, and that of Chakawa, a conqueror's son. So that is integrating these two trainings of the mind into the total body of the path. You will have the technique for practicing the subtlest attributes of the teaching. I have clearly explained everything in such a way, whatever has been elucidated in accordance with the unsuppressible doctrine. In these words of advice is due to the kindness of my teachers. It is difficult to fathom the intention of the conquerors and their sons, and I am one of inferior intellect and small exertion. So if, in collecting these explanations together, I have failed to explain them correctly, I declare such faulty from my heart before those having the eyes of doctrine. By the force of whatever accumulation of wholesome virtue I have assembled from their endeavor, may I and every living beings throughout all space never be parted from the awaking mind. May the force of third dispel every trace of misery and bestow happiness and benefit on wandering beings throughout the three realms. Through their body, speech, and mind, seeing, hearing, recollecting, and making contact with the doctrine, for the long as cyclic existence remains, the explanation of the superb whispered transmission of great vehicle mind training entitled The Ray of the Sun has been composed by Namkapal. Oh, sorry, maybe we will stop here. So I think.
데 가르쳐 거잖아. 남친 듭시기 탑라 때라 안에 성지기 고모 토벌 셰발라 당보 탑동 셰르비니 기나네 디소 탑 성지기 셈제 때 간다 드고레네 때 드르비 드동다 강리 종아레즈네 때 성지 좀 된데 마르 비기치네 샴바던 자양 성지 셈바 때네 마 보니 야그르기 반트다 안에 다 샴도 쳔보 나바 니스 존 포발르도 모볼르도 포바 토미니 때네 파존 야시 쳔보 쇼알라 po kanjing zonda da joji atashala soba de rimbichine ne ngazo pala yong de kadambe giwishin chimbo chakawala soba gene de je dani chimbo warta chine ne tan liganda de je warta nga de parta lewale salo ta ti damba so te ne dagjin nyamji go ne shangchi sema yes shiwala gsene ko be ne ti go ne shangchi sem lo jong de so she yore se wata joji atashala de yombe manga de go ne nyamda da shiwala ge dagjin nyamji go ne 선생님정도 띠고 오늘 받으시면 되겠어요.
시월라기 가르고니?
다시 냠지.
네, 시월에 갈래?
선수 조자 책던데 염리 망거든 기고네.
네. So the earlier when I say whisper lineage, I think better translation will be transmitted it from ear to ear. Make more sense. Ear to ear. So so what I read, what we just read, and this all uh, the explanations of the how it has been transmitted from the master to master, which is mainly giving two the folds of the practice, which is the method and the wisdoms. Method will be the practice of the bodhicitta, and those are all it came from the Buddha Shakyamuni, Buddha Shakyamuni to the master, the great masters such as the
Zambia Jawa Shamba.
Maitreya and the Manjushri, and from them the called the Nagarjuna and Asanga. From them, Shandidewa and the Adisha, and then the Master Chekawa and Tsongkhapa and so forth. So those are all been carrying from the Buddha till now, and which are mainly emphasize the two teachings here. One is the exchanging oneself to others, taught by the Shantidewa, and other is the sevenfold of the cause and effect, taught by the Master Adisha.
다저 전에 공부단다 안에 그런 것도 로종님이 어제 때 지름 보식 송하는 파 지올때 지용을 쏟는 노라다 샤파된 요나네 온다 세트들이다.
And also it has been said at the bottoms that I have mentions and taught according to the books teaching by the Tsongkhapa. So is there any I missed or left over? Then I kind of like I will take the responsibility as well as the asking for apology for missing any teachings.
다음 주 때랑 단 지기디로 우리는 때랑 쭉 가서 넘로 잡았대 상치기 셈세한테 간다지 그래서 못 주제 지나 상거든.
So today we are almost conclude this class. I mean this book, the mind training like the rays of the sun. But I would like to go quickly or briefly about or over the practice of the bodhicitta.
일단 상치기 셈세한테 간다지 그러잖아. 섬진 탐질 안에 땡기 대와 상지지 공부 톱 고군데 그거지. 또 톱이 쳇데 나랑 공부를 좀 벌성이기 인세. 삼로 때는가 상치기 셈 상치 셈세는 너무 있단다 봐. 심지어 탐중 공부를 좀 벌성이 난도 빈데 맞지겠지. 디 쳇데 당 로니 상기 공부 톱 고군데 그세. 너무 nhiều 뜻당다 맞을라. 상치기 셈세 그러지.
So when we think about when we observe the practice of the bodhicitta, is what is the bodhicitta? The practice of bodhicitta, it is the practice that we wishing sentient beings, may sentient beings able to achieve the ultimate happiness and attain the Buddhahood. And in order to do that, I myself also have to achieve that knowledge or the attain the enlightenment. So this is what we call the two aspirations, the practice of the two aspirations. One is the aspirations of the wishing sentient beings attaining the Buddhahood, as well as the achieving the last long happiness. And second is in order to do that, I myself also have to attain the Buddhahood.
맞선이니 가르치 선지기잖아. 심지 탐지기도 선지기 세때 보고다.
So what it means is why I'm enlightening for sake of all sentient beings.
근데 다 심지 탐지기도 선지를 세 발라 kalija kalija ta kanda chigre zina ta ti hona karndo gorza ti sem musun marsando karndo na tangbo ne simje tamje dingal lita na sambe samlo chi tene dewa tang dana sambe samlo tini sham tang nyang jingyu de ngonde do gorzi te ngonde do da ne tangbo dagji nyamji go ne samje ngorso ne tangbo rang la samlo tang de rang dingal tang dana dewa tang dana sambe tang azo ti tang namba tamje tang azo samna yor ngaro samalo te yo pa nang simje tamje le chipa chigera ta go simje tamje dewa tang dana dingal tang dana samlo te ong ta go te yong na ane kali kongput sone rang tang jen yi na jen zo simje dingal jen tam지 등을 일단은 내가 단단한 선배 상도도 시키신 분 경우나 어떤 띠 쳤던 거는 갈리갈리 하고는 약고 인세야지 어떤 삼로도랑 지금 고용 거지.
So once we understand the meaning of the practice of the altruistic mind or the bodhicitta, and so there are two aspirations, and then so next is the what. So what we should do now, we have to work on. We have to work the very hard in order to overcome or to fulfill these two aspirations. And prior to the practice, first of all, we have to have a strong kind of like wish and compassions to generate the compassions toward the sentient beings. For example, may sentient beings free from suffering, or may sentient beings always experience the joyful bliss and never separate joyful bliss and so forth. So these two wishes, what we call the compassions and the love and the compassions. And how we generate that compassions and the love or the kindness through the kind of like using our kind of intentions, that intention sentient beings also have. Whatever sentient beings wish, that I also have that same. For example, I know that I want to be happy and free from suffering and the causes of suffering. Similarly, sentient beings have same wish, that to want to be happy and free from suffering. So when we develop and practice this over and over, so that kind of like the powerful force will kind of cause the generate or develop the great compassions within us. And when we have that kind of like powerful force of the compassion, and then eventually we always put sentient beings first than oneself, and will think sentient beings are more important than myself.
하여튼 샹수 안에 진짜 탁바 첨보동 탁바 총고즈네. 삼로야 첨보동 삼로야 총아지 니 샹. 때라 기우 총 기우랑 근데 다 기우 섬기는 바시 연구를 당보.
So so according to this practice, wishing sentient beings free from suffering and so on and so forth, so we can able to label, or we can able to understand the differences between the higher and the small vehicle, as well as the different kinds of being, small, middle, and superior.
저다네 지선장 용을 써도 저당 저 강당강나 시나 싱게들라 맞으나 교 옹호도 당는 못 따가지네 옹 노보 우리 지선장 아직다 옹호도 보고 우리 지선장 니 용거를 치고 그러지.
And so it is the so there are two kinds of the engagings this practice. What we call the engaging like intelligence, intelligence one, and the engaging uh,
답이 나왔어.
like
답이 나온 답이 나온
the dull and mimes.
답이 나한테 가르잖아. 다 가르는 든지 인사래서 그 든지 이제 답바 코랑 이시 코랑 전에 로된 거지 막 코랑 내리고 막 통통트고요 말이 이시 코랑 라떼니 답바 그런 거 정도 또 보세요 것들 내리 요거 치트고 말고 파트와 당선은 코랑 때다 내리는 로시아요 말 오 nombo세 되게 리비지랑 세대 가서 코로나 딱시 땅에 제바전에 다라와던 탐지 캠바세 되는 거 문도 ndugena tin ngarangla thowaji re mandu re taksne thowaji ina aning it matne bachu chigo gunduwa na ma pasho chini jowat garjini jimsan kotsar ko shayor jimsan da chigo chora da chigo no ko ngiwa nibi gun jistin de gan chigo de ne rupi jinon che da tembo yoresi.
So when I say the two kind of engagings, two kind of follower, let's say two kind of follower. One is the follower like a great intelligence, and one is the kind of the not intelligence. So which is also explained more detail. So that here it is. The first one is a not intelligent one. For example, what we call uh, the follow by the faith, or follow by the faith, having a just having a faith, and having a just faith. The problems of having a just a faith is he or she wouldn't know the existence of the reality, and and one if someone asks a questions, then he or she doesn't have any clue what to say. Oh, I just following, that's it. And he or she doesn't have any logic, reasoning in order to explain if someone asks or ask yourself. So this is the not intelligent way to following the dharma. And the second one is the intelligent one, which is the for example, he or she will investigate, is there any liberations or not? Once we find out, oh, there's the liberations, and so may I able to liberate myself or not? And so he or she will continue investigate that kind of like practice. And if someone asks the questions, and then they were able to reply, logically, with full of reasoning, and he or she, the practice or the motivations toward the practice will be more stable, more firm than the not intelligent one.
진짜다 리피지는 거 남라 지고 수 당보니 토모람 정원 듣기르는 토모 남정고 그렇지.
And when we talk about the intelligence, the practice like an intelligent one, first of all, we have to engage, or we have to practice the common, what we call the common practice.
어때 가르를 소네 덴바질라 장네 덴바질 당부 등을 덴바세 간다 지금 알아도 등을 덴바서 알아도 린드 랑산데 지고 린드라 때네네 아주 등을 먹어도 개와 가와 나와 치와 근데 제가 난쳤다 그때 알아도 도트 매박 등을 지그리 띠 냠때 때네 저와 또장 지때 등을 알아도 리라 때베 강을 먹보지 온 때라 때네 샘라 때네 강을 먹보지 온 때랑 아주 등을 림바데 소진이 본부도 요알라 때네 때 봉부대 강내 종아래에서는 봉부대 좀 경험을 리땅 요목 온 것이 종아래에서는 소 놓쳐가 온 거네. 착신 말이 비운 거, 소 말이 비운 거 착신 지내네. 가까마도 텔레 다든 좀 발라 때네. 자동이 그롱라 때네 때네. 근데 용모와 세네 또 근종된 바세요. 근종된 바텔라 때네. 등은된 바도 종아래에서. 등은된 바도 된자 등은들이 드라이브 자와 갈 타고 오르나. 람기는 고 피덴 바세 토바요스 델리트비 타와 토바데 모든 세고 어딘데 간다지 토고 그러는데 람들라 된 토고 람드나 심상 보고 차디야 공내 공도 팬네 아니 인종 상지 셈이양 더 비타와 소질라 기용을 쏟아는 진가 아니 코로나 신비신바 도더니 랑 또는 좀 바도 더니 베이지니 치탐자 나도 좀 바도 소랑 진 마리피 차트 마마 제용으로 랑진 타로트 비콘 폰트야 돈든 이런 거 근데 타로트 컴퍼니 용도 타로트 요래지 다 뜻이고 통모 남종 때 레바지도 되지
Fusion. The so what are the the common paths? So common paths starting with the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths. The first the truth is the suffering. The and first is the suffering and how we experience the suffering. Of course, the first of all we experience the suffering because of the body that we have. So because the body we have the numbers of the suffering, what we call the suffering of aging, suffering of sickness, suffering of death and so forth. And plus we have also the suffering of hotness, cold, hungry, uh, um, toil and poverty, and so the mental suffering. So this all we experience because of uh, the body that we have, and how we have this body. So this is all we have this because of the previous lifetime we accumulate the what you call the karma and afflictions. Uh, because of the karma and afflictions, then that's why we, according to them, according to these actions, we gain this body, and the mainly it's caused by the marikpa, the ignorance. And so this is the ignorance is the cause of the suffering. So which is the second the teaching of the noble truth, the cause, the origins of the suffering. And then once we know that there is suffering, and through that we know that there is a cause of suffering, and once we recognize there is a cause of suffering, and then we will kind of wondering that how we can eliminate, how we can eradicate this the cause of suffering. So oh yeah, there's sensations. There's a sensations. So then it comes to the third teaching, that the truth of sensations, and through the truth, the truth of sensations, one can able to achieve the path, which is the fourth noble truth, and through the path, one can able to free from the circle existence, or the able to eradicate the circling in the existence, and able to uh, seeing as the existence as the false and the wrong one, and so on and so forth, and ultimately we can able to liberate ourselves.
다 좋아하는 이거 봐. 다 좋아하는
Okay, so I will stop
much more?
here, and if you have any questions.
So first of all, thank you we've almost reached the end of this book, and we've been working with this teaching for almost 4 years.
4 years,
It's been
yeah.
a wonderful, wonderful journey. So thank you, Geshe-la. Please forgive me if this is an ignorant question, but I'm genuinely curious about it. I would have asked last week, but we ran out of time. You've mentioned several times experiencing emptiness directly. And I'm wondering, first of all, can human beings do that? Are we capable of that? And if we are capable of that, how on earth would we know? How would we know if we experienced emptiness directly, if it's possible?
정부
또 공습 고송
아,
좀 좋았던 거
디 제마디니 디르셔 아디 저디니 계시 디스 메데오도에나 게임은 당분이 공도 슈디오스 아니 이 저디 조데 디 동원이 거라 동원이 먼저 direct emptiness 디 동원이 통해디 갑자기 동원이 지 통해줘라 디디 통해디 가성만디 뜻이 자소니 먼저 디 밀라 디디기 동원이 모습도 디 직도에게 된데라 밀라 디디기 디 칼라오다 누바로 인데 요나를 통해서 전부님 된다
대통 요르서 동아서 람고면 람가 심종아서 정부 소름 소소네 저 먹이 집은 거 처럼네 손이야 그런 베른 초서 초서 럽장 지원 저는 비 졸름 통해서 안송 기와는 거 말했더니 그런 콘서트 했더니 오늘서 동반이 공공 좀 동반이라 아니 다 미시긴 섬당는 미시니지 동름 통해서 동반이 원심 또 살서 근데 다그 팍바즈 가서 소소기올이야 파월 디동 남바도 코로알마 가요 말 동네 조금 말 동영원수 도서나 근데 동영원수 도서나 때때네 비 때야 원네 공peso나 다 람르 비스네 때네 사동고 니와 스바즈네 때네 사지 탈스나 때네 남친이 공바도 거든네 근데 럼바치 된도 아직 그래지 돈은 토와이나 저는 동영원수 동도
돈이무슨 네 파파 가는 게
소소기올이 파바르다
되는 선수 파파라라 된
가르제
통남년이 수지를 파파시
파바즈 간에 파르즈네 약간 건드 소소기올 다 람콘의 콘 소기람리 파버죠 파 돈은 더 돈이 원수 돌아 돈이 더 벌지 돈은 더 벌지 돈이 람도 벌어 하나 졸람 때 졸람도 좀 하는 거. 때 졸람 때문에 로 교총 친한 총상 남는 거.
Yes, indeed. There's such the practice we call the 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 5315 the path of the practice and which starting from the five path, the path of the accumulating, the path of joining, the path of seeing, and so on and so forth. So five path, and when we attend the path of joining, so we are we will not fall into hell realm, and and then when we attend the path of seeing, it is the stage where we're able to experience the direct what we call the experience the emptiness, seeing the direct emptiness, and the sense then what we call him or her as a pakpa, meaning the great kind of Arya, the kind of superior being from the ordinary being, and then eventually we'll from after the five path, then we were entering the 10 bhumins. And at the end of the 10 bhumins, what we call the namchins, which means enlightenment, the stage of the Buddhahood. And so this is how one could, experience the direct emptiness. So in order to do that, one should, start from the five path, accumulate the 5 pad. And from prior to the 5 pad, one should also recognize and go through the 3 kinds of beings.
돈이 동송나 돈이 온선 동송나 아니 다 먼저 써봐요 거라 상승 통는 바 돈이 온선 동송 돈이 온선 동송 것들 냠적 받던 지토 받은 인식 버스 냠적 받아야 돼 제식 동반이라 냠버 적다고 적는 그때들 상치 섬 요리요 말세 써봐 좀다 지토비 알랑도 거 이도 세도 데 그런 영 지금 봐선 섬 탑지 차서 야 공부했던 것도 냠버 적비가라 타식도 동비용 잡아주기 시작하고 봐. 대자네 디길라 상지 섬요요 말이지. 그때 소바요. 상지 섬에 손나 또 상지 섬바 말어 왔을 거다. 또 상지 섬 요르즈나 디길라 간다 요르 상지 섬요는 원섬도 요 말. 그런 발라시. 다 발라샤이츠 요르스 시고래. 나랑도 배는 미치게 샘능의 경 삼론로 니쿠이 다운이 카트텔 미티길라 냥지로 요 말이지. 또 들어와지.
So this it will be very interesting, through the examining, through the debate, one could able to recognize and clarify one's doubtness and comprehend one's knowledge and so on and so forth. For example, we often have the huge debate toward the emptiness as well as the mind of the enlightenments. For example, there's the practitioners, the stage of practitioner we call I don't know the exact translations, but let me try my best. When that practitioner's meditating, he or she might be deeply meditating on the emptiness, deeply meditating on emptiness.
냥지 요리요 말세.
And the first question is, does he or she have bodhicitta mind or not when emptiness?
냥지 상치 맨나 때 상치 선바를 말세. 좋았대요.
Yeah. The first question is, if he or she doesn't have a bodhicitta mind, then should we call this a bodhisattva or not?
아니 나랑도 니 특보 코이도는 아주 질 냥지 요리요 말. 알아서 나랑도 또 들어왔더나.
For example, the second questions will be, let's say, when we are in a deep sleeping, right? When you are deep sleeping, do we have a compassion or not? So this is a question for yourself. This is you can ask question yourself. Do I have a compassion when I was in a deep sleep?
Can I share something, Shira?
Could you share 시겠어요?
Yeah, Buddha says that we all have that capacity. He says that we have this mind of luminosity, clarity, which is clear light mind, vast like the sky and vast like the space and the ocean, free of duality and free of conceptual mind. Is Dhammakaya awareness, which is Ripa emptiness.
키티 내시겠지. 그런 때 돈도 쉬었지 마.
Maybe can you explain the meaning?
Yes, that means we open up our mind like the vast sky, like the blue, like space, free of conceptual mind and free of duality, which is clarity awareness.
샘도 남과를 쓰고래 남과 샘도 집발 쓰고.
Emptiness, and they call it Ripa, right?
Yeah.
좋았지.
Yeah. So since
Which is
you
luminous light.
yeah, so let me ask you a
free
question.
of conceptual.
Is the mind is the sky or sky is the mind?
No, the mind. No, I read somewhere that our mind, we got to visualize like the vast sky, open up like the vast sky,
먼저
open up
사무디
like the space,
남편이 같이 해버렸어.
like the ocean which has no,
the 잠수는
다들 원래 경험때 내시 영어로 곰작이나 때는 남카능진 샘탐지 남카능진 그래서 곰쳐도 간다지 돈지 간다지 곰거지.
So I'm just kind of out of my curiosity. When you're meditating on this, the teachings you just mentioned, and how you meditate, and what is your the how is your imagination and that concept of the vast oceans or the vast sky?
it's just like clear, and it's just like the moon, which is covered by the clouds, but we remove the clouds, so we have clear like mind.
Mhm.
You know, without duality or conceptual mind.
Mhm.
Beyond the conceptual mind, which is, they call it emptiness or vata.
The
다때 남카능 잠수니 때라 벨렘 바르와지. 배순 남카능 잠수라 벨레네 랑 샘트 때르 샘트 때르 레세고르다. 샘트 때르 레세월라다 아니 때르 가서 샘나다 오 때르 레세하지
It's
못
11 o'clock.
샘나다 용화로 토니 저다 들세 시에고는 저도 매버다 버지. 또 빈순점 남카당 잠수니 또 빈순처 바 리파세트 바 넘버 쇼아세트 저질 송나 랑진 코랑 거니 랑진 코랑 니땅 쇼치니 파 동비 양레스 쇼치니 코랑 안 사상릭 빠지게 오 서리크 차지게 디쇼니 서리크 차 디쇼니 된종식 거스 땅사 바 잠수는 진짜 동비 양라 파 남카는 된냐 파 게롱은 디니라 비촌진이 그런 거 시고 요르다 다 한로즈는 든들지는 봐 시트비오 말지.
So yeah, this
어쨌든 저는 대시 야대 이거를 저때 또 돈도 땅사 보지르지. 근데 릭파세드 생분일이 시작을 생분일이 시작을 생분일이 차로 니치니 시작을 서위 차지다 동비 차지 동비 차도 남게 양나고 시작을 서위 차도 ям초동서 땅사바 시작을 다 내반이 파견 시작을 때 시작을서 때디고 닐근 옷도 된지 파 소소 샘나 샤르니 내 시작은 깔리 호치 차고 말로나
동해의 남과체 서위차디 갈래.
땅사비 차지고를 때 ям소로 빌려 버지.
안내네.
서위 차지고 서위 차도 된종구 차들어 된종 동바지 동아 된종서 뒤시고
디코가 된중된 대반이 시월서.
어떨
Yeah, so I really appreciate your your comments and also what you just shared. But when we look those explanations, it seems kind of like we understand, but we try to kind of like observe and go into deeper level. It's very hard to imagine the exact the practice of the emptiness and so on and so forth. For example, when you said the when you said the sky and the oceans,
그냥 빈손으로
so the sky and the oceans, those are the example, or this the symbolize the emptiness and the clarity. For example, the emptiness is here giving as a vast sky, and the oceans is giving here as a clear kind of like clear natural clear light. But these two also, the meaning behind, we have to understand the meaning behind the oceans and the sky, which symbolize the emptiness and the natural clear light, and which also truths and two truths, and as well as interdependence. And And then if you go further, with interdependence and dissolving into the clear and so on and so forth. And so this sometimes for myself it's hard to kind of like clearly present what is this meaning.
Okay.
Okay,
Tando.
most Stacy,
I just have a comment. I think when I think of my practice, I think of it's like playing a violin. You just don't, it takes a long, long time. And as a layperson practicing compassion and equanimity, you meditate on it and you practice and you practice. But as you go out into your world, because you're a layperson, you have to deal with a lot of problems. And those problems are like swimming upstream. You're going against, so you're constantly having to deal with your afflictive emotions.
it's like assuming you said.
Well, it's an analogy of like swimming upstream, like.
Oh, yeah.
You're going against the flow. But you're still trying to deal with compassion, equanimity, you're really watching your afflictive emotions. It's a practice, and it takes a long time.
Mhm.
So I always think, and this may be just being pessimistic, that for Buddhahood, it's a process down the road. I want to practice for Buddhahood, but I feel like it's another lifetime because I'm a layperson. I'm not a monk. Always, to myself, I say, may I always be surrounded by perfect gurus and magnificent dharma, meaning that this is a process that's probably going to take lifetimes. So I guess I'm giving this as not sure it's a question or a comment. Daisha would like to clarify. I just don't assume that I'm going to be, I'm going to have to really work hard and study a lot. Probably not going to happen this lifetime. That's all.
the 대화이나 다 뭐랑에다가 삼수로 지시에나 고충의 개인처럼 가르쳤는데 대신잖아 가르치는 제가 민도스에 뭐조디 당보디 디시도 가르쳤나 다 아주 냠내스에 되다 아주 단위로인데 아버지가 단위 딘디 장완나 시르시다스 근데 정도 좀 고르고도 배 갈래요라 냠내스에 딘디로 그러샤스 아니 학법도 다 아주 미디어지 인사이트 아니 그 학법도 디스 갈리 망아 요아로 서비스 배션하다 남주인은 아주 냠낸다 닝제다 아니 당념세 데 이코메시 오레스 이나야다 미체나야 아주 냠니치도 समा야 디 디로레샤스 카사 베나다 추나면데 추주추문나 디 짜지와나시 추주추문자는 배 갈리만 보여라 야 그 뭐고 다디 추럽도 다데 된 참마다 갈레스나다 저 sembanangita nyumong sumda determinedera and dilaya khate chawla ta ngazu ninje ta tangyum ta de mangbuchi kongu doase ta khajimanje ta jingning ngazu midyare ngazu chawa mare ani nyamen chiala this ta zo miu de sangye de yoda langkana yoda na tarbu shuji inside ani 당이 디 대화이나 가리나 하고 있는데 데려오시라셨어요.
정당 아주 정말 강을 때 열 당아주 직당 안에 추순이 잡지랑 당아주 뒤쪽이 망부 열대 초망아 당아주 배 다가 돌아가 당는 로고다 아주 정말 지바르다 같이 잡아도 쇼지 요지서 잡아도 쇼지요 말 지바 직장을 가정도 가르 요랑 아주 킬린지 요 단때 지기면서 킬린지 요 되게 돈바지 요 때 맞도전 가랑도 미치바르데 멕시코 잡아라 가요다 동발라가 그 염증가로도 코킬을 땅인데 지기면서 킬린 담자지요 떠나지는 아주이나 그런 식단 그런 그런 크고 요라 그런 때 식사하던 냠때 미팅 저라테가 요 말다이는 둘로 요야다 지금 망조죠 참지 연구로다 배나 저쪽은 아주 배나 아니 똑바로 나식 손나 저는 그녀 똑바로 자손들 그게 저당의 팀은 그 녀도 춤적으로 그녀 똑똑똑돼요 또 녀도 따라온 미 집을 거기로 쇼테요 뜨나지는 알아서 요 말 이낭 소소소소 그 뒤쪽도 소소소 담지 소소 아주 시엔나 마시 소소 샘때 양전 다시 찍고 그러다 아주 샘때 견이 오늘 지나 니즈 특비요 말 나도는 샘 랑게 샘나 내드 그 소라 샘라 된 중국이 시고 샘 간다지 그래 시에서는 샘도 오르트 특비요 말 샘도 오르트 토이나 너 샘때로 도고 잡지 지지지나 띠나라 샘 코롱 쳤던 건데 사진도 사진 띠강다 아니 지금 사원도 가르답게나 기기요 대정아도 사원 장보고 쭉 예스문 거 쇼텐지니 따와이나 띠강다 제죠 근데 사원 특자 된지 셔당당 공로등 알질당 된데 사원 따와는 띠강다 머기 등의 지용고 된서 센 사진도 샘도 당보알 샘 사진도 등 예스니 고 타고요 예스 톱송나 띠강다 아니 람비 예스문 당보기 샘도 잡으려 고 지시니 텔레티스문 것은 진짜 좀 보이지는 것도 람비 진도 토하지 그래서
Sometimes I don't recognize what I wrote. Okay, but anyway, I know that it is very difficult and a lot of hardship involved. But when we look at our lifespan, every day we have 24 hours, and we do have a time to practice. Honestly, frankly speaking, and we do have a time, but because of the distractions and so on and so forth, we waste our time not engaging into practice. We're wasting so many times, if you speak honestly. But when you say the monk and nun and so on and so forth, doesn't mean we are different. We all are same. Yeah, if you're a monk, doesn't think like we are special, like we all same. What really makes different is we have a vow. That's really make difference. Other than that, we all are same. We all have the same feeling, and so on and so forth. And as a monk, so we have some sort of like discipline we have to maintain. And once we take in this discipline, doesn't mean that monk and nuns will change forever. Even though they are on the path of that discipline or vow, they are still same person, same like person. It's like a police. Like a police, since they were granted as a police officer, he or she, same person, right? Only difference they taking the vow to serve the country, to serve the community, but they are same person. They always have the same wish and desire, and so on and so forth. And but anyway, we all are same, and I think most important is to maintain our own schedule is very important. Maintain and controlling I wouldn't say control, but maintaining our schedule. And and for example, when we talk about the scheduling or maintaining our schedule, what I'm saying is really observe our mind and recognizing our mind. For me, is very one of the difficult tasks is the recognizing my mind. It's very difficult for me, and I know all the suffering and happiness come from the feeling that I have. What kind of feeling? From the feeling that I have, either I have the feeling of happiness, or I have a feeling of suffering. Even though I know that, but it's still I've always failed to recognize what is mine. And so our mind is like a base, it's like a ground, and what kind of like the soil you will put on the ground. If you put the bad soil, then you will always have a negative mind, and that negative mind will cause, or you will experience the suffering, or vice versa. Like if you have a good ground or good mind, sorry, if you want to have a good ground, of course you have to plant, you have to put the good soil. That good soil will bring the good cause, such as happiness and the joy in your life.
근데 이 빌런서 사실 때 가서 무슨 통지 받은 거 용어 통그르다 가서 샘세때 조트메 빠지러 했다 빌런은 된지 그랬어. 소시고는 샘때 셔트 빠지고 소소 용어 들어서 그랬지.
So I just give a kind of analysis or the example. Or what is the mind? It's like ground. When we talk about the ground, we can see, vividly see kind of, object is there, right? So it's all ground. If I put a good soil, I will have a good fruitions. If I put a bad soil, I will have a bad fruitions. So it's very easy to explain, and it's there. We can see. It's just an example. But really, if I try to explain the mind, so it's very vast and hard to comprehend that the meaning of or the nature of the mind.
Can I share one more thing, Vishla?
What's that?
Before we experience this luminous purity, we need to eliminate, all our garbage which is in our mind, which is anger, hatred, jealousy, all this addictive emotion, right? If we don't eliminate it, then we cannot realize the true nature of our mind. That's what I feel like that. It's just like the moon covered by the clouds.
아스트로니 당보 장마 조엘라 장마 조하게 사제 하고 그러다 뭐. 샘 장마 조에서 당보 샘세 간도 또 문인지 뭐 그러지. 다 좁아지기나.
So if you want to debate, let's debate. For
Just like our mind is like the moon covered by the clouds.
당보 아들 좀 모은 등인진 더 그러지. 나와 장마 나와 올 샤워를 세번나 나와 당보 나와 등인지 지터 그래. 아주 특별해요 말다.
so
나도 왜나 다 교회 나오 말소라.
so like we say like if you want to have a clear and pure luminous the mind and so on and so forth, we have to purify and we have to clean the negative mind. But in order to clean them, first of all, we have to know the base. In order to purify the moon, in order to purify the cloud to the moon, we have to know the moon first, which is the mind. If you want to purify the mind, of course, there's reflections and so on and so forth. We have to purify. In order to do that, first of all, we have to know the mind. We have to recognize the mind. Yeah.
The conversation we're talking about, we're approaching from many different angles. I feel like we are looking at all the same thing, but from a different perspective.
Mhm.
I think that if the ground is the mind and soil is emotion, then fruit is action. And that true emptiness is reaching good action without emotion. That's my understanding.
그때 갔어도 사지 동네다 중앙에 내면치고 그랬어요.
Okay. Can you say again? The ground is mind, right? And the soil is
If the ground is the mind, right, our brain, and the soil is what we feed it, the emotion, then the fruit that comes out of our mind is what we do.
된사다 좋았던 거. 아주 적당하네. 하고 사질이 기위 지 향도던 가요로. 또 참아 사거랑진 저발에 살이 탔다디고다 좋아지죠. 적당하네. 섬기랑진 아주 녀몽와즈네 접즈네 접시 되고다. 섬기 내리게 또송하나 녀몽의 아주 접바 탐지 섬기 랑진지 동빙한데 파샤를 쓰고 서튼 또 파톤이 녹스 제요 말. 또 샘기 양라 파틴 소나고 때 진이를 세고 때 쉐고 그래서 이 내리기 등아도 잡을시였던 기 사질이 진이 뜻당 지금도 뭐 동마시고 또 종사도 사 모이 내리기 파체 소놓고서 종아지랑진이 파트는 종인지 랑진지 바로 팀으로 막또 텔레 한진이 늦더니 종알는데 로가지 요 말서 뜻당 아주 묘모와서 게비sem도 묘모이sem서 무슨 조메시랑 쏟대 로스지 sem근 능와지 파샤롱네 능와 sem지 친이라 파틴 소르도 sem지 친이라 랑진고 테마도 데 로스인데 묘모르다지 파키로지 요 말서 시고르지.
Okay, thank you for your share. And I have a kind of like when you said this the ground, soil, and the fruit, the actions and the emotions and the mind and so on and so forth. Are they separated or they are
사질이 파 종의 사진 올 펀티문을 다 사질에 놓아치고 그랬어.
yeah,
That's
are
right.
they are when it come from the ground, are they you recognize them as a separately or it will dissolve into the ground?
What do you mean by it?
For example,
사질이 종의 올 담질.
so whatever came from the ground is the base is the ground, right? Because of the ground, the soil, then food, and so on and so forth, and then such as mind, emotions, and actions, so on and so forth, which came from the ground, right?
Right.
Are they separated from the ground or they eventually dissolve in the ground?
They dissolve in the ground because sometimes emptiness means I don't do anything.
The nothing 그랬어요.
샘등으로 뜻낭지는 아주 샘리 종 요모 점지용 샘기랑진이 파 잘리 샤 종알을 쓰고 샘지차 저 종에서 아니 때파 샘기랑진도 파 요모진이 늦자서 파 녹스베 매어져 저마 저 샘기랑진 오마 팀 선수 샘기랑진을 동비용다시 텐로 쓰고 근데 띠 닐링오마 때다 샘기고 닐링오마 때 시고 그러지.
So similarly, when we talk about the nature of mind, from the mind, we experience the all kinds of emotions, right? Good, bad, happy, suffering, and the good side of the mind, the bad side of the mind, and so on and so forth. Is all come from the mind, right? Appear from the mind, but eventually it will dissolve into the mind. And at the end, we cannot say this is the good or this is the bad because it comes from mind and it will eventually disappear or dissolve into the mind. And 니루라.
샘기 닐리 시송이나 요모 늦자더니 파 지요 말 아니 던데가 코콘콘 남스진로 던데 용거 니왈라데.
So
차단가서 봐요.
by the lamsuju로는
람도 냠린 찬로 던데
Okay.
용거.
So by knowing that and
그나
whatever
그만 던지라 용거 니왈라데. 방올라데.
whatever come from will eventually will dissolve into that mind. So by knowing that and we know that it is the process of the nature of the mind and we wouldn't see we wouldn't distinguish between bad and right because eventually at the end will dissolve into the mind and which means that sometimes bad could brings the goodness or vice versa. For example, like medicines, most of the medicines came or made it from some bad elements, right? From bad elements we create the good medicines. Similarly like this.
칠리 장위 돕기 척바치 용거래. 키 척바치서 척바데 치 세그마리나 랑진데 치고를 만디버. 척바데 파시송 치랑진 파시송. 단 노치가당 셔당다 디랑 거 지금 능아 상마 대용도 바 디용도 종리 파티 샘기 닐기 도송나 상마 디용라 파팀으로 벌써.
It's like in the ice. Ice also came from water, right? But we cannot say water is the ice, but it is came from the water, and So when we see the ice, eventually when it melts, it will become a water. And so, whatever, we experience is eventually it will dissolve into the natural mind.
Kita kawin ni cira, ngando ina de sempi ni kaleo na ko tanda magi cepung tsume ko sontumna. Tatin kita samgi sida. Okay.
Okay, so these are so very complicated topic and the practice, and but
같이 모르겠어.
but I think it's very important to kind of study and think about the those practice. And myself is I think maybe just observe the 10 virtues and 10 non-virtues.
근데 셈바 동용 제때 셈바 동용 등이 시기요. 저 자동쇼 매화지 때 연구 셈시요 말 셈바 동용이 시기였어요. 소라 동용?
Yeah, and also the practice the equanimity, the mind. I may not recognize the mind, nature of mind, but I do know the equanimity mind. Okay.
Question is involved scheduling. Habitat, you guys know that takes up a lot of my time. As you guys know me, I read the goals, everything, more so for outside of my state, but I keep that in my mind. Seeing what I do in the future and have my goals. And of course, we talked about it. I never really would be a part of the temple and would to be, a part of one could. And one of my biggest things that I face in meditation, I'm kind of, my cat is like my daughter in a way. I've had her since she was pretty much born. 19 years old and I don't feel like a daughter. And while that is part of being attached, I don't feel attached. I know I can go away. I know when she goes in the other room. I know when she's at, I don't have to go get her. And that's the problem with me when it comes to meditation. If I shut my bedroom doors, she will meow and that disrupts my mindset and peace of mind. How do I separate that and still be able to meditate on a regular schedule and find that, that time in my day?
It's about meditating. It's feeling push and pull of meditating with also having a cat that requires a lot of attention and having a door closed when meditating, and the cat's on the other side of the door,
Yeah.
and it can
Yeah.
meowing, and then it can disturb the meditation. But also they would like to be able to meditate, and so some of these. Can I make one suggestion?
Mhm.
One of the best meditations I've ever had in my entire life was with a cat in my lap.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful meditation.
I'd like to add to that and say that generally when we meditate, it's like we're on our own. And anything else around us is a distraction or disruption.
That's how I feel.
So when you sit down to meditate and your daughter comes to you next time, go like this.
Yeah, that's the way I do the teacher. I tap my feet and then I usually have my feet off and I'm lying there at 4 in the morning to meditate and it's cold and
Professor,
it's like I need
can
to.
you explain what he said? I can tell Sheila.
The practitioner is feeling the press of time and obligations, caring for the cat, for their cat, and for family as well, and wanting to be able to make space for the meditation, but also feeling like when they put up the boundary, And the cat's meowing on the other side of the door, it interrupts the meditation. And it's, but would very much like to be able to do the meditation.
고디
Did I get that
저도
okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
그 저도 딘자다 페나타 냠년도 미세기다 곰도 잡도 사마니 아니 거기 나 모기다 미치기 보모이나 지금 나 프로페서기 페이션 시미도 스페셜사 시미도 스페셜하네 페나 곰도 사마니 시미 야마르로 다 시미나 유마주는 고이야로 다 시미기야 깨져라 되게 되서보다 동네 망부치고도 깔리 망부치도 엔딜라야 대주 모여 주도야 들라치 티 고소 가야 치도 들라치 샤고 차기도 와서 근데 야 초진이 야 냠내야 치치고도 와서도 내려오지
딱 가서 곰 토마장 수도 곰장석에 니들라 지 카퍼 먹고 치기로서 웬바 지 때라 아니 릴라 모노바 아니 드라당 작바든 데면와 아니 소소 팅진 좀 사든지 네 편순 소바세 지 상고고 그건 토말 곰자라 가서 지요나 사야바제 자가 때베 곰라 파르치 치쇼시리 라이 ter마즈네 아주 ter마노즈 레 ter마노즈 람송 곰테 셈라 소란 넘버진데 다트 람송 스고 된자 때 곰로 얌니 교 곰로 샹송나 아니 지 오늘 전에 차당 좀 찾소나 근데 내가 좀 말이죠 다창 총총나들 저도만 뭉치는 것도 다 통용으로 써 뗄 때는 람송 파송이 있던와지 통으로 뗄 때 소란다면 기용 다 곰라 또 시송으로 곰송나 때 니치다 날에 암족 카마거든 이혼을 찾나 남도 용거 말다데 거다 샘체치도 내대고 미카시 옆에 샘체치 내다오나 뭐 치다오나 그 통고 말 나라망에 저들어 샘플라 제치든 들다 다 당보 제르도 가도 샘도 칼론도 듣고 말아 네 남지 삼도 가도 당보 세클션도 배 깔린도 거 sabzi chona lamsari ru da da nang sin da shangchi ba chsona samlo tang go mende ko te ko ni be damo te ne ji tang ni sa ka dan ro do chi pa ri
아니 그 가르치고 왔는데
어떨 때또 당보 셈데서 네 원바 됐을까 지 쇼크 하고 대 랑터는 미 정말 상상했다 그것은 뭐 요르츠 요르츠
thank you everyone. And I think for the beginner, when you engage meditation, especially for the beginner, would be recommended to find the solid place. Solid, not solid. What do you call it?
Secluded.
Recorded, yeah.
Coded, the place there where there's no less obstacles, less obstacle. For example, less obstacle from the human beings, and easy to access, food and drink to consume, and also easy to obtain the medicine and so on and so forth. So these are the recommendations, especially for the beginner, and because when we very beginning. When we engage the meditations, Tibetan you call it Daitsema. Daitsema 나시래서 뭐라.
이라 참아서 참아들 람서가 너저 라데네 사운드 람서페 드로나
So we said like for the beginner, the sound is like a throne for meditator. Meaning like if we go in the wood, if we have throne, feel like a very pain, right? Similarly, sound is like a throne, it's like a very effect to you, especially for the beginner. So that is very important to find the place where there's no obstacles from the human being, traffic, and that you can easily obtain the things that are necessary, and so on and so forth. And once you do this practice over and over, once you become more kind of like qualified toward your practice, and then it really doesn't matter wherever you are, you can able to practice, whether you close your eyes and open your eyes. The reason we slightly close our eyes because when we open eyes, we receiving so many informations. That information distract and our mind, and so that's the one reason we slightly close our eyes. So what I'm saying, like once you become so good to in meditations, then it really doesn't matter whether you are wherever you are, you can able to practice meditations. There are some individual great practitioner, even though they open their eyes, they can still meditate, they can still able to meditate by opening their eyes. It seems like he or she is not meditating, but they are meditating. They open their eyes, but they completely shut down, yes, all the senses. And so it's all like for me, meditation is like especially for the beginner, it's like a learning. It become a driver. It's like a become a driver. For example, when you first learn how to cycle, bicycle, and at the beginning it might be difficult and to balance and feeling and how to navigate and so on and so forth. But as you practice paddle, keep paddling, and then you so good to paddling or cycling bicycle, then eventually you can able to navigate wherever direction you want to go. But at the beginning, difficult, so many obstacles and the balance and so on and so forth. Similarly, like this. So, having said that, doesn't mean you just leave your home and go away somewhere.
Well,
It doesn't mean that. Let me finish. That doesn't mean that. But what I'm saying is, find the right, time. Like I would say, early morning. Early morning, where there's less traffic and there's less human being walking around and the less obstacles. So early morning will be the best. Because early morning is good because everyone might be sleeping, so you just wake up. And
usually I get up at 4:30 and my back I'm meditating, but the moment I get out of bed or couch or whatever the task, I'm just, I'm like, I can't even tiptoe, like, to get away from it. And honestly, it's not because it's not traffic, it's not people. I tone out, it's being touched and being like, feeling like it's hard to do it here. Because I see the people around me. That's not the problem. It's more so like I'm used to being in a dark room by myself, back up against the wall. Like that's the way I've always done it. Even when I was a little, like 10 years old, I would do it that way. That's been easy for me, but I had to be on the run. So chairs don't work. Family of that placement it's very weird because I always falling backwards or hit my head on something or something. So for me, meditation has been a very hard topic, but it's not been unachievable. And I want to know how I can do that better. And that's where I need to really catch a experiment with and see what works best for me, for her, the time, the day, whatever it may be.
Wednesdays are a good day to practice here, by the way.
Yeah, I usually come here on
그것도 드시겠습니다.
6 so it's like
That's gonna be the best.
고르죠. 난 고르죠.
yeah.
아마도 내 먹을
I'm
고르지도.
very
내 가족하고 되어 있는 고르야고 되었어요. 대신 내려고 다니면서.
그렇게 동바 참지만 오는데 오늘 몸잔 거 수공하고 참참 수공하고다 막 수조하는 거 치고라고 고치다고 그죠. 오늘 검정을 그래서 하버드 야 세간을 또 정말 치료도 됐어. 검정 상동 그자가 그야.
Okay, so we will stop here. Again, like I don't know if I understand you, but Kishila said, the temple, you can come here,
I know.
not very early because maybe 10 in the morning, like you can come here, especially during the weekday, you can practice You can practice meditations during the weekday. You can come here, it's quiet, you can practice meditations. In summer, outside is very beautiful. You can go in the wood. You can find the tree and go in the wood and sit under the tree, do meditations. That's good. Stacy?
That's Teresa loves that meditation with the tree.
Thank you, Geisha, Gunga, and Tempa. Hi, Michael. If you would like to donate for this teaching, it would be greatly appreciated by the monastery and the monks. And you can do this by calling 812-336-6807 or by emailing the center at tmbcc.kcl@gmail.com. For those of you here in the temple, I'll pass around the begging bowl, and if you would like to make a donation, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, we'll say the closing prayer on page number 88. Page number 81.
Yes, somebody.
Page number 80. 80.
Nam da lam dang zhe ver ma zhi gang zi da ba chou la chi chou zhi zhe zhen zhe la zou ba de yi de nam ji da de zhu xi zhang zhao xi yang zu zhou geng sha zhi yi早别喇嘛人不去，大说你个把灭当书那，嘎着全部过年结送的，过送的节目着咋的说。常说心中人不去，马街把那结节儿去。给我娘把没本儿养，光年光的陪我说，抗热热为过为兄刚的，盼当的我马里永为你。夏日在我等着养所以，下辈生的把的等着去。不把我今儿的天把当，跟得上不的样的人的，得到跟业绩是道路上，给我的大堂知道的我。上边要我他们之间，我刚拿出的我帮的。大人给我早晚的跟讲，上不就是让的我儿子，俺的叫你担保的上街，等着给我他们这跟跟上，如今跟老的这永为。上街担保到的解决去。在这跟的要我从高位，他就新年我是特别的，要为我被那上的夜里，这些咋样都不是马的儿子。아니 단다 단다 제가 지난 뒤에 또 지마 자니마 니라